Thanks so much for taking time to talk to me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to talk to you. It's my
Yeah,
pleasure.
yeah, no, I really enjoyed Sour Minnows because it feels like it's a movie about cinema, but it's not like that's not the focus, but it's very much like
Mhm.
in conversation with movies and specifically the people who watch movies.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like, was that your intent or am I misreading?
No, I think that was definitely one of the intents of the movie. I think that uh, to some extent the movie um, is more questions than answers or something. I think that there's a mysterious cadence that the film has where it's trying to suggest many meanings and interpretations without necessarily being monogamous to only one.
I like that idea of it being monogamous. Did you give like the actors the freedom to sort of like play it through their own interpretations, or did you give them like this is how I want you to do it?
I worked with a lot of the actors in the film were pals of mine or people that I had collaborated with before. So I feel like we were always from the jump on the same page tonally, maybe more than necessarily the on concrete narrative terms. I think that the film is dealing in maybe narrative meanings that can be kind of slippery or difficult to pin down and define. And I think the actors have had and have their own questions about some of the swirling meanings and in the mix. But I feel like what was most important to me was finding this like tonal consistency because I felt like if there was this sort of emotional register that everyone was operating from that felt unified, then we were in the money basically.
Now, like the time slippage in this movie, like it just feels like everything exists outside of a normal linear timeline, but like there is a rhythm to it. Like, what were the challenges in like not getting too lost in everything?
This was a big I think iterative challenge of the edit, and the story of the edit for me was kind of finding the right balance between um you know a film whose language is disorienting and dizzying, without being something that feels confusing in a way that like alienates the viewer from wanting to know more. I think I work as an editor, and I've edited a lot of films that are that have a more maybe like traditional narrative language. I feel like I'm really fluent in that sort of cadence, I guess.
Mhm.
And maybe on this film, I felt like because it was my own, just my own like kind of personal um, exploration, I felt like I had the license or the freedom to sort of explore these more I guess like unknown forms or something, and especially rhythmically, because I think you're keying into something really true, which is that like as long as the pace of the film is moving, you can be disoriented. Your inner ear can be kind of dizzy, and you'll still be along for the ride as long as you're not bored. You know. So this was definitely something that I felt like I was um continuing to iterate and like work the clay of the edit for a long time to kind of find the right balance.
I do like that balance of like confusion, but and then an answer, but that answer raises more questions, and it feels like we're really kind of going through this with Ricky.
Yeah, yeah, cool. That's great. That's definitely I would say that's probably the idea that there's like a sense of of subjective disorientation rather than just like just more generalized disorientation.
This movie is like Sour Minnows is like isn't like very much like a straight horror movie, but it's horrific in that I frequently felt very, very uncomfortable watching this movie, and not in a horrified way, but in a I felt nervous for what was going to happen to all of our
Mm.
characters. And
Yeah.
um like when you were plotting out the story of Sour Minnows, like what was like the first scene that you knew that you had like a really good idea?
So yeah, it's a cool question and a really tricky one to answer because the lineage of the screenplay or whatever was actually more it didn't come together in a way that was coherent. It was more like it was literally a poem first. It was literally I was writing poetry, and I was trying to kind of think about the sort of film that I really wanted to exist. That I felt almost like if I could make a film that wasn't for sale, what would that be? If I could force into existence a movie that was just aligned in a way that was maybe purely intuitive, even if it was illogical, something that was just gutturally coming out of like, if you give me a movie camera, what do I do with it? Um, and then it started to be sort of this constellation of images. I think about like pretty early in the film, there's like a character who like jumps over some he like hops over some diarrhea. There's like a an amorphous form just in the script. It's someone shitting a river of liquid diarrhea who the actor hops over smartly. I feel like that was um one of the first images if we're trying to kind of uh try to find a some kind of initial, I don't know, etymology or something of the movie. I'm not sure.
I mean, like the inciting incident within the film is like these people like licking the pavement, and it is exactly the sort of thing that I feel like if you came across would sort of break your brain in a way. And like I feel like we're just like from that moment, everybody like watching this film is immediately like, I don't know how I could go on with the rest of my day after seeing that because there's no context in which every explanation raises more questions, which I feel is like a good metaphor for the film itself.
I think you're right. I mean, I think, I was really inspired by the Buñuelian surrealist image or something like an image that is so sort of shocking and that it breaks the pattern of your reality and forces you to like reconsider what's going on. It kind of makes everything that seems quotidian into something new and alien. And I was thinking about yeah, I was thinking about some kind of like guttural spectacle, and I feel like I'm still looking for the language to describe this movie because I really I really don't have it, and even when making the film, I didn't know how to describe it, and I love to repeat this Edward Hopper quote that I find really inspiring, which is, if I could say it in words, there would be no reason to paint. I think about that all the time in the context of this movie, because I don't really, it's like I don't know how to explain like a lot of what the movie is. I only know it through how it feels. um but yeah, I mean, but I felt like in my early grasping to try to find language for, because inevitably one has to describe the movie to other people
Right.
if one is directing a movie, especially a movie like this. I have to find some way to try to explain it. I started to say that the film is about like a hexed image, like two people who see a site, and the site is itself some kind of hex, and the hex is a creature. And then I don't know, and then you kind of, I
Yeah.
don't know. So I feel like, yeah, the licking the street idea, it was sort of it's like the point where all these different kind of meanings were meeting in my head.
The the entirety of the film, it's just like I love the performances that you get from our leads. And I mean, I'm always happy to see Chase Williamson in something, and I like Susanna Son as well. Um, and I'm just like you talked about how like a lot of the people who worked on the film were like friends and folks you'd worked with in the past. Like, how did you come to your three main leads?
Um, Chase is an old buddy. Like Chase and I went to high school together. I've known him forever. He's just one of my favorite actors, and he's so funny. And he's someone where whenever I'm making a movie, I'm always wondering how Chase will fit into it. He's so versatile, and I think that he's an actor who in many ways has been cursed by his own handsomeness because he's so because he can do anything. Um, and yeah, I'm excited to see his career continue to blossom as he gets more opportunities. Um, David Brown, who plays Ricky, is also a good friend of mine. We went to college together. He's a pal. He's someone who I think is just so brilliant. And we've known each other for years. We've worked together on some small things. Um, I remember I made a sketch with David long ago with some other buddies, and um, he was yeah I was just struck by like how sometimes you come across an actor um who it's like on the day you watch their performance and you're like that was really good, and then but then later you watch the footage and you're like wow, like they were doing stuff that I couldn't even see on the day. They were doing stuff that was invisible to the naked eye but that the lens. I'm just blown away by David. I think he's so brilliant. And also he's also so smart, and he's someone who I really trust artistically, who I feel like I can be really vulnerable around artistically. Um, yeah, I mean, in in seeking the two central roommates, I felt like I couldn't do better than these two guys. I was like, these are just, incredible actors. Um, Susie was someone that I didn't know beforehand, but she's someone that, I found that once the script of the film existed, it was a little bit self-selecting because because it was such a strange, like the document was insane. Like the document is just, there's nothing like the way the script even looks. It's like formatted really weird, and it's like it's written as poetry more than it's written as a screenplay. So when Susie read the script, she just responded to it, and we met and got along really well, and I found her really really cool and really easy to talk to and really bright and sharp and funny. And then I was so excited when we started shooting together because she's just like a lightning bolt. She's so magical on screen. She's awesome. So I feel really blessed about the collaborations with the actors and excited to sort of share the weird amalgam of these performances in the movie with an audience.
Well, I can't wait to see what everyone else thinks of this after it has its big screening tomorrow. Harrison, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to talk to me. This has been really delightful.
Thanks so much for having me. I really, really appreciate the conversation.
You're welcome. Have a great rest of your day, man, and break a leg tomorrow.
Appreciate it.